in order to add these, we need to get a common denominator. And in order to do that, we need a factor, because by observation these are not the same. So we have to factor both denominators. This first denominator, hopefully you can understand this first denominator. If you factored it, okay, if you factor the first one, you got a -2 and a -1. -2 on top, -1 on bottom. My two sides are -2 and 1. So that's x minus 2 and x plus 1. That's the first one. Now this one, isn't this a difference of squares? This is called a difference of squares. This is x squared. And what squared gives you 1? 1. And isn't 1 a plus and 1 a minus? So, can I just cross these out right now? Aren't these new forms of the denominators? You don't have to cross them out, but sometimes it's easy to notice, okay, these are my new denominators. They're a new form. Now, looking at these new forms of the denominators, I need to have a common denominator. Do these have anything in common? What you notice is they do have something in common. Don't they both have an x plus 1? Now, to get them both to be the same, doesn't this denominator need the x minus 1 over here? This one needs the x minus 1, right? What does this one need that this one has? Doesn't this one need the x minus 2? And doesn't this one need the x minus 1? So, what we're going to do is the first one, this is kind of a bad on space, but the first one we're going to multiply, because this denominator needs this x minus 1. So you're going to multiply top and bottom by x minus 1. This one, what's this? This one now has the x minus 1, so we're good. What is this one lacking? The x minus 2. So this one needs an x minus 2. Alright. So one side, do we now have the same bottoms? Yes. So for the top, you now have, if you distribute this, you have x squared minus x plus, here, isn't this going to FOIL? Aren't you going to FOIL this right here? When you FOIL it, you're going to get x squared plus 3x minus 10. And on the bottom, looks like you have x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 1. Again, how did I get this right here? I FOILed this. This is called foiling. I FOILed it, and I kind of did it in my head. So when I FOILed this, I got this. When I distributed this, I got this. They both have the same denominators, and you're adding. Okay. Before we try to cancel anything, combine the top. How many x squareds do you have on top? You have 2x squareds. How many x's? Well, I have a negative x and a 3x. That gives me 2x. And then numbers, I have a negative 10. That is the top. I now have still x minus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 1. Does the top factor? There is actually a GCF. What is it? 2. So let's first pull out a 2. That leaves us x squared plus x minus 5 over x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 1. And then let's see if negative 5 and 1, can you factor what's left? Does that factor? No. So this would actually be your answer. Now if that would factor, you factor and see if you can cancel. If not, you're done.